Welcome to Whisper and Wonder, where soft stories meet soft voices. You're listening to Hello, How Long Has This Been Going On? Episode 3. Let's begin. Huo Ryan blinked, surprised. He hadn't expected Dr. Tao to be so young. Just 2 years older than him and already a department head. That was seriously impressive. He sat up straighter, full of admiration. He really wanted to refute his sister now, but clenched his teeth and held it in. He couldn't let this motor-mouthed little gremlin smear Dr. Tao's good name. Out of nowhere, Sophie struck again. Why are you even talking to a doctor? Are you sick? Of course not. I mean, wait. Are you trying to stress me out so you can inherit my savings account? Sophie stared at him in disbelief. Where did you learn to say that? You're using flexible sentence patterns now? Who are you and what have you done with my caveman brother? Huo Ryan, his fists clenched on instinct. Weekday afternoons always dragged on. The sunlight outside was lazy, and the office was steeped in a sleepy haze. Tao Jay noticed many of his coworkers drifting off mentally, some even nodding off. Wang Henry, the planner he usually worked with, hadn't come by either, probably still struggling to write up the next version's requirements. Tao Jay nearly dozed off again but forced himself to stay alert. If he kept napping now, it would ruin his sleep at night. The cycle would only get worse. With nothing urgent to do, and no trending tech discussions in the Little Green Bird IT hub, Tao Jay opened the official account of the game and browsed through player feedback in the comments section. Most of the comments were scathing, complaints about stingy drop rates and pay-to-win features. But a few mentioned bugs. Tao Jay read those carefully, noting any issues that might be related to the code he'd written. Even though every feature went through rigorous testing before launch, often reviewed several times by Tao Jay himself, bugs still happened. In actual usage, problems popped up for all kinds of reasons. Sometimes it was compatibility issues with specific devices. Other times, older code got overwritten by accident. And often, the cause wasn't clear at all. Even though his last life had ended from overworking himself to death, Tao Jay still had a pure and enduring love for coding. When he was a child, he had always loved watching construction crews build houses, how those plain, ordinary bricks and cement could come together into something magnificent, something grand. It was like magic. Programming felt the same to Tao Jay. Taking messy, meaningless data and building it into clean, logical structures, continuously seeking optimization, and finally arriving at a set of elegant, minimal code, it brought him immense satisfaction and joy. He carefully analyzed the bugs, then began drafting an optimization plan. At the same time, he sent a quick message to Wang Henry, asking if they could be added to the requirements and resolved in the next version. Moments later, he saw Wang Henry spring up from his seat and enthusiastically wave at him. Tao Jay, seeing the question marks all over Tao Jay's face, Wang Henry quickly bent down and sent him a message. Planner, Wang Henry. Big Tao. Let's take a walk. Planner, Wang Henry. Lighting a cigarette for the boss.jpg. A little while later, Tao Jay stood by the roadside, clutching the milk tea Wang Henry had shoved into his hands, and took a sip in mild confusion. The sweetness of milk seeped into his senses, and the soft taro balls were surprisingly good. Tao Jay politely said, "Thanks, it's really good." Wang Henry lit up instantly. Big Tao. Have you ever thought about being a producer? Huh? Tao Jay found his train of thought hard to follow. What kind of producer? For games, of course. Wang Henry was brimming with enthusiasm. You're so talented, there's no way you'll spend your life working for others. This reskinned game we're all dragging ourselves through. Even the producer doesn't care about player feedback. They're just in it for a quick buck. But you still take responsibility so seriously. If you ever made a game yourself, I'm sure it would be amazing. Tao Jay had wanted to explain that he was only fixing the bugs out of boredom. If he hadn't been afraid of offending his coworkers, he would have cleaned up everyone's mess. But looking into Wang Henry's earnest eyes, he couldn't bring himself to say it. If programmers were creators, then perhaps every creator had once fantasized about this: ditching the boss, ditching the clients, and building something from passion alone, something they truly loved. Wang Henry studied his expression, a little surprised. You haven't thought about your long-term path? I thought a lot of developers in their 30s start thinking about switching tracks. Tao Jay really hadn't thought about the future. His life felt like something borrowed. If he could just live peacefully until the end of the story, that would be enough. Before he could answer, Wong Henry suddenly backtracked. Sorry, that was dumb of me. I forgot you're only 22. I keep forgetting that. Probably because when I was 22, I was flunking classes and barely hanging on to graduate QAQ. Back when their team was desperate for developers. They'd finally hired a new guy, young. Really young, they were told. Everyone had been waiting to see when this kid would give up under the weight of a thankless, underpaid project. Instead, reality gave them a rude awakening. Geniuses were not like the rest of them. That's why I told you not to call me Big Tao. Tao Jay muttered guiltily. He had dropped dead at 26 in his previous life. The same age as Wong Henry, a seasoned adult in the workforce. Now he was back, and everyone at the office called him the kid. It was honestly a little embarrassing. Nope, it's the respect a genius deserves, Wong Henry insisted. Then, more cautiously, if you haven't made any plans yet, would you be interested in looking at a game proposal I've been working on? I've teamed up with a friend who does art. We're trying to make a strategy mobile game with some fresh mechanics. He rushed to clarify, afraid of being rejected, totally not trying to pull you into the project or anything. Just, if you happen to have time and want to check out the idea. We'd love to get your opinion. We haven't shown it to any developers yet, so we have no clue how hard it would be to actually make. Tao Jay was no stranger to conversations like this. In his past life, he'd accepted plenty of invites like these, more like passion projects than startups. He even really liked one of those ideas and had enjoyed the work. Becoming close with the team along the way. A lot of indie games that made it big started out just like that. Even when the projects failed for one reason or another, people walked away having found kindred spirits. Friends, a word that now felt a little distant to him. Tao Jay paused before replying gently. Things are a bit hectic at home right now, so I probably don't have the energy to commit to another project. But if you want to send me the proposal, I can take a look. Can't promise anything helpful, though. Wong Henry didn't overthink it. Of course a genius would be busy. Even with that, he was thrilled. Yes, thank you, Big Tao. I'll send it to you on PP, actually. Wait, we haven't added each other yet. He reached for his phone, getting ready to pull up his PP QR code. Tao Jay stopped him just in time. Smoothly fibbing, I don't really use PP anymore. Just email it to me. I'll send you my address when we're back at the office. Wong Henry didn't suspect anything and nodded. After all, everyone knew Tao Jay hadn't joined any of the company PP groups and was completely off the grid once he left work. If you're super busy, feel free to read it later, we're not in a rush. You looked so tired this morning. Must have been working late yesterday. Make sure you get some rest. Once things settle down, dinner's on me. Tao Jay's hand trembled slightly around his cup of milk tea. What he'd been working late on last night was chatting on PP, and now the cup felt oddly heavy in his hand. No need. If there's a chance, I'll treat you next time. Though he wasn't sure when that chance might come. After the walk, Tao Jay went back to the office and quickly got back into work mode. Time flew, and in the blink of an eye, it was 6 o'clock. Like always, he shut down his computer right on the dot, screwed the lid onto his water bottle, and picked up the shopping bag on his desk. But today, something in his chest felt unsettled. A bit wistful. Shui Hugo poked his head out from the next cubicle. Smirking, heading out on time again. Off to buy groceries? Tao Jay gave him a look. He could tell there was some smugness there. Probably scheming something again, but he didn't feel like engaging. He just forced a half-hearted smile and turned to leave. As he clocked out, he found himself glancing back toward Wong Henry's desk. Wong was chatting with another planner. The two of them laughed and got up, clearly heading out for dinner together. Wong Henry noticed him by the door and waved warmly. And Tao Jay? He was about to catch a bus to the supermarket. Cook dinner alone, eat, do the dishes, tinker on his computer, take a shower, and go to bed. Somewhere deep in his chest, a quiet envy stirred. By the time he boarded the bus, sitting by the window with the cool evening breeze brushing against his face, he somehow found himself opening PP, an app he hadn't touched in a long time. In a way, he hadn't lied to Wong Henry. Tao Jay's friend list only had 2 categories. One was labeled, Life. In it were supermarket accounts that regularly posted discount promotions. He knew one of them was run by a girl because she once accidentally posted from the wrong account. "Ah, my husband is killing me," with a gif of a male celebrity. He had to admit, the guy was pretty good looking. Then there was the gym trainer who shared daily group class schedules and motivational quotes. But the man's enthusiasm in messages was a little overwhelming. So after Tao added him, he never dared reply. There were also a rental agent he'd contacted when house hunting, and a courier who'd lost a package and added him just to reimburse the cost. The other category was the default one, my friends. And in there was only a single contact, Our, whom he had added just last night. He hadn't yet decided where to put Our. He didn't belong in life, but didn't quite feel like a friend either. He was more like an unexpected ripple that had crashed into Tao Jay's otherwise calm life. Lost in thought, Tao was jolted when HR's scenic profile picture suddenly flashed repeatedly. HR. Dr. Tao. Are you off work now? HR. It's already 6. But I figured you might still be on your way home. So I didn't want to bother you. HR. But you just patted me. So that means you're free now. Right. HR. Cute. Tao blinked. Scrolling up, he noticed a system message. You patted Our. PP had recently rolled out this new feature. Double tapping a contact's profile picture sent a notification saying you'd patted them. Tao almost never used PP's chat function, but he had seen posts on forums about people dying of embarrassment after accidentally patting someone. He also remembered the gym trainer once posted an inspirational quote, "Some clients hesitate. After adding me, they go silent. It gets harder and harder to make the first move. Now, with a pat, just tap me, and I'll help you change your life." He must have tapped HR's icon while zoning out in his friend list. At first, Tao felt mortified, staring at HR's messages. He was unsure what to say. Around him, the bus was filled with noise and chatter, but the wind drifting in through the open window was cool and gentle against his face. Slowly, the vague melancholy he had been feeling began to dissolve. Maybe it was that little blushing smiling emoji. There really was something kind of cute about it. Tao. Good evening. Tao. I'm free. Not cooking tonight. Tao. Did something happen? Outside the bus window, storefronts lined the street, their neon signs flickering in the dusk. Restaurant doors were wide open, welcoming customers. Staff stood outside shouting warm invitations. Folding tables and plastic chairs were already filled with bare-chested diners clinking beer glasses. The air was thick with the scent of stir-fry. It was okay to slack off now and then. Tao thought. HR. Yes. Do you remember the friend I mentioned yesterday? HR. The one who suddenly showed up at my place last night. After getting off the bus, Tao glanced around and stepped into a nearby noodle shop, ordering a bowl of clear beef ramen. He'd grown a little tired of stir-fried rice dishes every day and wanted something lighter. He took the number tag from the cashier and replied casually. Tao. I remember. Did he come by again? HR. Nobody messaged me. HR. I don't usually check my messages. And I don't always reply. But he said he lost a bracelet. And it might have been left at my place. So I looked around and didn't see anything. Then replied to tell him I didn't find it. HR. But it turns out he had been waiting for my reply. As soon as he got it, he said he'd check again and apologized for being too impulsive last night. He promised to respect boundaries in the future. Said he hoped I wouldn't hate him. That he just liked me too much. HR. I didn't know what else to say. So I just replied, it's okay. Then he sent a voice message. I think he was crying. He sounded really upset. Should I be comforting him or something? HR. Crying. Tao's eyes widened. He never would have expected old-fashioned, straight-laced HR to attract someone so textbook, green tea. Tao. That's a lot of tea. As he was still trying to decide what advice to give, HR replied almost instantly. HR. Are you drinking tea? Dr. Tao? HR. If it's too strong, don't drink it, it'll keep you up tonight. Tao froze. It took the arrival of the steaming bowl of noodles to pull him back to reality. Right, he'd almost forgotten. This was a man who barely used the internet. Tao. I wasn't talking about literal tea. It's a slang term, green tea. Too much tea, used to describe people. HR. I think my sister mentioned green tea once. What does it mean exactly? Tao. It's hard to define precisely. Let me think. It's someone who acts innocent and pitiful on the outside but is actually very calculating inside. Tao. Like your friend. He's the one who made you uncomfortable and crossed the line. But afterward, he apologized and blamed it all on being in love with you. That subtly shifts the responsibility onto you. Makes you feel sorry for him. Then he might ask for something that sounds small. But because you feel guilty, you won't refuse. Before you know it, he's wormed his way into your life. Tao. I don't think he lost anything. He probably knows your habits well enough to say something you're sure to reply to. He said it on purpose. The typing indicator stayed on screen for a long while. Then finally, a single emoji appeared, a blackened, defeated bean face. HR. Fail, fail, fail. Even through the screen, Tao could feel the emotional whiplash this honest middle-aged man was going through. He smiled despite himself, feeling a pang of sympathy. As he slurped his noodles, he sent a message of comfort. Tao. It's okay. I got tricked by people like that too before I understood what was going on. It's not your fault. Some people just aren't sincere. HR. No wonder my sister gave me a dirty look when I asked her how to start drinking green tea. HR. Dr. Tao. I'm really glad I met you. Thank you. Tao was starting to get used to HR's old school, heartfelt rainbow compliments, and oddly enough, they were kind of nice to hear. Tao. Cat Bean smiled. JPG. Tao. So how did you two meet? Do you work together, or run in the same circles? HR. We met through work stuff. But it doesn't involve me directly. I don't handle that part of the business. We only met once at a networking event. And then he started clinging to me. HR. He just messaged again. Dr. Tao. You were totally right. HR. He says the bracelet means a lot to him and he's really upset it's gone. He asked if I could go with him to buy a replacement. HR. If I hadn't just learned what green tea meant, I probably would have said yes, crying. Tao Jay hadn't expected it, but he nailed it exactly. Tao. Don't be nervous. Since you don't have any work ties with him, there's nothing holding you back. He's clearly using emotional manipulation. My advice is to reject him directly. Don't worry about hurting him. When he was toying with your feelings, did he care about yours? So why should you care if he feels bad? Tao. That said, he's definitely the type to play the victim and twist things around, making it seem like rejecting him is some terrible injustice. Tao. So I suggest, fight tea with tea. HR. That makes so much sense. Dr. Tao. Please teach me your ways. And so Tao Jay gave him detailed instructions. Big Brother HR was utterly stunned. Like someone who'd discovered an entirely new world. He couldn't wait to go find that green tea idol and try it out. It had been a while since Tao Jay had typed this much in one go. His fingers were starting to ache. Luckily, a bowl of warm, comforting noodle soup had settled nicely in his stomach. Feeling content, he rubbed his full belly and happily paid the bill. The beef at this place was incredible, tender, flavorful, and rich with aroma. Next time, he'd try to make it himself. Trees swayed gently under the yellow streetlights. Couples strolled by with their dogs in small groups. Tao Jay headed toward the park. He was so full, he needed to walk it off. His phone buzzed in his pocket. A message from I am Starlight. That bracelet was a gift from my mom. I've worn it for so long. And now it's just gone. I feel awful. HR. I feel awful too. I am Starlight. What's wrong, bro? HR. I feel responsible. You lost something so important because of me. HR. It's all my fault. If it weren't for me, you wouldn't have lost it. You wouldn't be sad all the time because of me. There was a long pause before the other side replied, clearly stunned. Tao Jay couldn't help it, he was already laughing. I am Starlight. Bro? HR. You've probably heard what people say about me, that I'm boring. Stiff. You're so amazing, and yet you like someone like me. I feel unworthy. HR. I don't even know what's good about me. I can't return your feelings. All I do is make you sad. HR. I'm just awful. This time, the reply took even longer. I am Starlight. Don't say that. You're the best, at least to me. HR. Don't comfort me. It doesn't help. I don't even have the courage to see you right now. I'll search the house again for the bracelet. HR. I need to be alone for a while. I'm sorry. That was the end of the record. By the time Tao Jay finished reading, HR had already sent a few follow-ups. HR. Dr. Tao. How did I do? HR. Honestly, I started getting into it. Being all green tea like that? It's powerful. Left him totally speechless. HR. Cat smiling stupidly. JPG. Tao had to admit, HR might be older, but he was a fast learner. His imitation of the green tea idol was eerily accurate. Tao. You were amazing. You reminded me of this meme. Tao. Panda head crying on the outside, laughing on the inside. JPG. HR. That one's great. HR. Wait, Dr. Tao, hold on a sec. Tao was wondering what HR was up to when another message came in. HR. I need to be alone for a while. I'm sorry. HR. Panda head crying on the outside, laughing on the inside. JPG. I am Starlight. Bro, that's not how you use that meme. HR. Really? I thought it emphasized how sad I was. HR. I'm so dumb. Can't even use memes right. I feel awful. HR. Panda head crying on the outside, laughing on the inside. JPG. The other person went completely silent. Tao Jay stared at that ridiculous panda meme and burst out laughing. Tao. You're incredible. Really. Tao. King of passive-aggressive shade hands clapping. Tao. That's a compliment. You really roasted him beautifully. HR. Just a tiny bit of payback. HR. Learned something new again. HR. Dr. Tao. Thank you so much for helping me analyze him today. You really know so much. Tao Jay thought for a moment. He didn't want HR getting the wrong idea. So he explained. Tao. You meet all kinds of people online. Guys like him? They're the ones everyone loves to roast. I've just seen a lot of examples. That's all. HR. I see. HR. Dr. Tao. Do you think I should go online more? Learn about what young people are into? That question reminded Tao of what HR had said in the chat last night. You probably heard what people say about me. That I'm boring. Stiff. So it really did bother him. To Tao, it was kind of admirable, someone middle-aged, still trying to understand the younger generation, still willing to open himself to new things. Tao, do you remember what you told me yesterday? Tao, don't let others' opinions guide your life. Just follow your heart. Tao, if you think it'll make you happier, then go for it. By the time Tao Jay got home from his walk, it was nearly 9. It was one of those rare evenings when he didn't need to do chores. He skipped the computer, took a shower, and got into bed with his phone. The day had been full and satisfying, but Tao had a bedtime habit, browsing the forums. Without it, the day just felt incomplete. He scrolled leisurely, relaxed. Even the posts that usually made his blood boil couldn't wipe the smile from his face. When he reached the entertainment board, a red-tagged hot thread caught his eye. Title: He's back. He's back. He's back. Infamous green tea idol Shaw is back with another round of his signature drama. Hot. Original post. As everyone knows, top influencer Shaw's only notable work is The Camellia Boy. Today, we get a sequel. No prizes for guessing which poor male celebrity will be dragged into the next wave of fan heartbreak and moral outrage. Screenshot, screenshot, screenshot. Shaw Stella V. I lost something very important. And along with it, someone very important too. Shaw Stella V replying to @LoveStellaLove, it's nothing. Don't overthink it. I just wasn't good enough. Shaw Stella V. Thank you all for being here. You're the best. My beloved Starlight's red heart. One glance at the screenshots, and Tao Jay could already taste the tea. The comments were mostly mocking him. The level of green tea today was too much, even for him. He backed out of the thread, browsed a bit more, then slowly drifted off to sleep. The moonlight was soft, the night, perfectly quiet. Tao Jay turned off the lights, tucked himself under the light quilt, and fell into a deep sleep. At exactly 10:30 p.m., his phone screen lit up silently. HR. Good night. Dr. Tao. Sweet dreams. Tao. Good morning. Tao. I fell asleep early last night. Slept really well. Tilda. Thank you for listening to today's episode of Hello. How long has this been going on? If this story made you smile, feel, or pause, consider subscribing to Whisper and Wonder. New episodes every week. Until next time, stay soft and keep wondering.